Welcome to the Microsoft Windows version history. The early versions of Windows 1.0, Windows 2.0, and Windows 2.1x. The history of Windows dates back to 1981 when Microsoft started work on a program called Interface Manager. It was announced in November 1983, after the Apple Lisa, but before the Macintosh, under the name Windows, but Windows 1.0 was not released until November 1985. Windows 1.0 was to compete with Apple's operating system, but achieved little popularity. Windows 1.0 is not a complete operating system, rather, it extends MS-DOS. The shell of Windows 1.0 is a program known as the MS-DOS Executive. Components included calculator, calendar, card file, clipboard viewer, clock, control panel, notepad, paint, reversi, terminal and write. Windows 2.0 was released in December 1987, and was more popular than its predecessor. Windows 2.1 was released in two different versions, Windows 286 and Windows 386. Windows 3.0 and Windows 3.1x. Windows 3.0, released in 1990, improved the design, mostly because of virtual memory and loadable virtual device drivers (VXDs) that allow Windows to share arbitrary devices between multitask DOS applications. Windows 3.0 is the first Microsoft Windows version to achieve broad commercial success, selling 2 million copies in the first 6 months. Windows 3.1, made generally available on March 1, 1992, featured a facelift. In August 1993, Windows for Workgroups, a special version with integrated peer-to-peer networking features and a version number of 3.11, was released. Windows 3.2, released 1994, is an updated version of the Chinese version of Windows 3.1. Windows 95, Windows 98, and Windows ME. The next major consumer-oriented release of Windows, Windows 95, was released on August 24, 1995. While still remaining MS-DOS based, Windows 95 introduced support for native 32-bit applications, plug-and-play hardware, preemptive multitasking, long file names of up to 255 characters, and provided increased stability over its predecessors. Windows 95 was followed up with the release of Windows 98 on June 25, 1998, which introduced the Windows Driver model, support for USB composite devices, support for ACPI, hibernation, and support for multi-monitor configurations. In May 1999, Microsoft released Windows 98 Second Edition, an updated version of Windows 98. Windows 98 added Internet Explorer 5.0 and Windows Media Player 6.2 amongst other upgrades. On September 14, 2000, Microsoft released Windows ME Millennium Edition, the last DOS-based version of Windows. Windows ME incorporated visual interface enhancements from its Windows NT-based counterpart Windows 2000, had faster boot times than previous versions, which however, required the removal of the ability to access a real-mode DOS environment, removing compatibility with some older programs, expanded multimedia functionality, including Windows Media Player 7, Windows Movie Maker, and the Windows Image Acquisition Framework for retrieving images from scanners and digital cameras, additional system utilities such as System File Protection and System Restore, and updated home networking tools. However, Windows ME was faced with criticism for its speed and instability, along with hardware compatibility issues and its removal of real-mode DOS support. PC World considered Windows ME to be one of the worst operating systems Microsoft had ever released, and the fourth worst tech product of all time. Early versions Windows NT 3.1, 3.5, 3.51, 4.0, and 2000. Windows NT is a proprietary graphical operating system produced by Microsoft, the first version of which was released on July 27, 1993. It is a processor-independent, multi-processing and multi-user operating system. The first version of Windows NT 3.1 is the first major release of the Windows NT operating system, released on July 27, 1993. Windows NT 3.1 and was produced for workstations and server computers. It was a commercially focused operating system intended to complement consumer versions of Windows that were based on MS-DOS, including Windows 1.0 through Windows 3.1x. Windows NT 3.5 is a major release of the Windows NT operating system. It was released on September 21, 1994, as the successor to Windows NT 3.1 and the predecessor to Windows NT 3.51. Windows NT 3.51 is a major release of the Windows NT operating system. It is the third version of Windows NT and was released on May 30, 1995, 8 months following the release of Windows NT 3.5. Windows NT 4.0 is a major release of the Windows NT operating system. The direct successor to Windows NT 3.51, it was released to manufacturing on July 31, 1996, and was launched to retail on August 24, 1996. Windows 2000 is a major release of the Windows NT operating system. It was the direct successor to Windows NT 4.0, and was released to manufacturing on December 15, 1999, and was officially released to retail on February 17, 2000. The Windows XP OS. The next major version of Windows NT, Windows XP, was released on October 25, 2001. The introduction of Windows XP aimed to unify the consumer-oriented Windows 9X series with the architecture introduced by Windows NT, a change which Microsoft promised would provide better performance over its DOS-based predecessors. Windows XP would also introduce a redesigned user interface, including an updated Start menu and a task-oriented Windows Explorer, streamlined multimedia and networking features, Internet Explorer 6, integration with Microsoft's .NET Passport services, a compatibility mode, to help provide backwards compatibility with software designed for previous versions of Windows, and remote assistance functionality. The Windows Vista OS. After a lengthy development process, Windows Vista was released on November 30, 2006, for volume licensing and January 30, 2007, for consumers. It contained a number of new features, from a redesigned shell and user interface to significant technical changes, with a particular focus on security features. The Windows 7 OS. On July 22, 2009, Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 R2 were released as RTM, released to manufacturing, while the former was released to the public 3 months later on October 22, 2009. Unlike its predecessor, Windows Vista, which introduced a large number of new features, Windows 7 was intended to be a more focused, incremental upgrade to the Windows line, with the goal of being compatible with applications and hardware with which Windows Vista was already compatible. Windows 7 has multi-touch support, a redesigned Windows shell with an updated taskbar with revealable jump lists that contain shortcuts to files frequently used with specific applications and shortcuts to tasks within the application, a home networking system called Homegroup, and performance improvements. The Windows 8 and 8.1 operating systems. Windows 8, the successor to Windows 7, was released generally on October 26, 2012. A number of significant changes were made on Windows 8, including the introduction of a user interface based around Microsoft's Metro design language with optimizations for touch-based devices such as tablets and all-in-one PCs. The Windows 10 OS. On September 30, 2014, Microsoft announced Windows 10 as the successor to Windows 8.1. It was released on July 29, 2015, and addresses shortcomings in the user interface first introduced with Windows 8. Changes on PC include the return of the Start menu, a virtual desktop system, and the ability to run Windows Store apps within Windows on the desktop rather than in full-screen mode. The Windows 11 OS. On June 24, 2021, Windows 11 was announced as the successor to Windows 10 during a livestream. The new operating system was designed to be more user-friendly and understandable. It was released on October 5, 2021. Windows 11 is a free upgrade to some Windows 10 users as of now. The Windows 365. In July 2021, Microsoft announced it will start selling subscriptions to virtualized Windows desktops as part of a new Windows 365 service in the following month. It is not a standalone version of Microsoft Windows, but a web service that provides access to Windows 10 and Windows 11 built on top of Azure Virtual Desktop. The new service will allow for cross-platform usage, aiming to make the operating system available for both Apple and Android users. The subscription service will be accessible through any operating system with a web browser. The new service is an attempt at capitalizing on the growing trend, fostered during the COVID-19 pandemic, for businesses to adopt a hybrid remote work environment, in which employees split their time between the office and home. As the service will be accessible through web browsers, Microsoft will be able to bypass the need to publish the service through Google Play or the Apple App Store. Source of info from wikipedia.org.